There are stories that find you in silence, in places where no words are spoken, just hearts trying to breathe. And this one, it started with the softest voice in the world, yet it stopped time. So if you've ever believed that a moment can change everything, if you've ever felt invisible and prayed for someone to see you, stay with us. Because this story may just be the one you never forget. And hey, before we dive in, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring more real, soul-touching stories just like this one. It was late afternoon in dusty Abilene, Texas. The sun was falling like a flame behind the hills, casting long shadows on the dirt. At a rundown roadside auction yard, half livestock, half junked equipment, and a few human souls that nobody quite knew what to do with, stood a lonely man with boots covered in dust and a heart that had stopped believing in second chances. Wes Callahan wasn't looking for anything. Not cattle. Not a truck. Not even company. His ranch was too quiet, his past too loud. Widowed 3 winters ago, Wes had stopped letting people close. Just him, his horse, and the wind. That's all he trusted anymore. He was just about to turn and head back to his truck when he heard it. "Please, buy us." He turned, and there, clinging to the hem of a tattered blue dress, stood a boy, no older than 6. Dirt smudged his cheeks, and his voice trembled like leaves in wind. Beside him stood a girl. Maybe 16, maybe younger. Her eyes were hollow, but behind that emptiness, there was something else. Like the last flicker of a candle refusing to die. Wes froze. Everything around him, the bidding, the auctioneer's chants, the murmurs, blurred into silence. That one sentence had taken all the noise away. The girl lowered her eyes, ashamed. She didn't speak, didn't beg. But the boy stepped forward, tugging on Wes's flannel sleeve with tiny fingers. "Please, she's my sister. We don't want to go with that man. He smells like beer and he hurt her last time." Wes followed the boy's gaze to the man across the pen. Big, greasy, red-faced. Laughing as he waved a few crumpled bills in the air. The auctioneer didn't care, just wanted the money. The girl looked up for just a second, and that second sealed everything. Wes didn't remember reaching for his wallet. Didn't remember walking forward or raising his hand. But the next thing he knew, the auctioneer slammed the gavel and shouted, "Sold to the cowboy in the hat. 2 for 1. Good deal, real good deal." The kids ran to Wes like he was air after drowning. Wes brought them home. The drive was silent. The boy, named Toby, clutched a stuffed bear missing one eye. The girl, Clara, stared out the window, her fingers nervously twisting her dress. She hadn't spoken a word. At the ranch, Wes showed them the guest room. It was old, barely used since his wife passed, but it had soft quilts and a clean bed. Toby jumped in joy. Clara remained quiet. Over the next few days, things settled into an awkward rhythm. Toby followed Wes around, asking questions about horses and fences and cows. Clara helped in the kitchen, barely speaking, always watching. Like she was waiting for something. Maybe the moment Wes would get tired of them and send them away. Wes didn't ask questions, but he could see the bruises. On Clara's wrist. The flinches when someone raised their voice. The way she'd freeze at the sound of boots on wood. One evening, as the sun sank behind the hills again, Toby finally told the story. Their mother had died 2 years ago. Their father, a drunk, had vanished not long after. They were passed from trailer to trailer, caregivers, who only wanted government checks. One of them, Toby didn't say his name, had tried to take Clara to his room at night. She locked herself in the closet with Toby and wouldn't come out. That's when someone called child services, and from there, the auction. Wes listened, rage burning slow and deep like a coal in his chest. He didn't say much, just ruffled Toby's hair and said, "You're safe now, both of you." Weeks passed. Then months. Clara began to smile. Not often, but sometimes, like when Wes taught her how to fix the fence. Or when she cooked pancakes and Toby said they were better than the ones from the box. Wes built her a small garden. Said his wife had always wanted one, but never got the chance. One night, Wes caught Clara sitting on the porch, staring at the stars. "You ever wonder why someone would buy two strangers?" she asked. He looked at her a long time before replying, "Because sometimes, people aren't strangers, just family you haven't met yet." Her eyes filled, and she nodded without speaking. But peace never lasts long in stories like these. One morning, a black car pulled into the driveway. Two men in suits stepped out. Social workers. They had papers. Said the auction was illegal. Said the children had to be placed in state care until a proper investigation could be done. Clara stood between the men and Toby, shaking like a branch. "No," Wes said simply. "You're not taking them." One of the men sighed. "Sir, this isn't up for debate. They don't belong to you." Wes took off his hat slowly and looked the man straight in the eye. "They do now. He hired a lawyer. Sold off part of the ranch to cover the fees. He fought in court. Brought neighbors to testify how the children had changed. How Clara laughed now. How Toby called Wes, Pa. Photos of the bruises. Testimonies of what they'd escaped." The judge looked at Wes during the final hearing and asked, "Why? Why would a man with no obligation give up so much for two kids he just met?" Wes looked over at Toby and Clara, both seated beside him. He smiled. "Because they saved me before I ever saved them." 6 months later, Wes officially adopted them. They stood under the giant oak tree behind the ranch house. Clara wore a white dress. Toby had on cowboy boots 3 sizes too big. Wes held both their hands. He didn't say much, just whispered, "Welcome home." And Clara, finally, fully, cried. Not from fear, but from the kind of joy that breaks chains. So, if you've ever believed that love finds you in the most unexpected ways, this story was meant for you. Not every cowboy rides away alone. Some stop long enough to hear a small voice say, "Please, buy us." And in that moment, everything changes. Like this video if it moved you. Subscribe for more stories that speak to the soul. And remember, sometimes we're not saving them, they're saving us.